You are now listening. I didn't get my thing set in time. So, sorry, folks. I think it's going to be that kind of an episode. Actually, it's barely, I'm just going to be honest, it's barely going to be an episode at all. It's hanging together by a thread. As it is, Jake's not even here. Let's just be honest, Ben. For once in our lives.
Once in our lives, we will be
honest. Honestly, I'm Nathan. I guess I'm usually honest about that. You're Ben.
I'm Ben.
We're checking in.
We're just checking in. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, this is not a real episode. And yeah, well, so basically the thing is that vacations and summer and an old friend had a wedding and
we were all there.
Some
of us went on trips after said wedding. We had trips. It was good. Saw some family in Mississippi, saw some friends in Louisiana, drove a long way with two very tiny babies who, let's just say they provided a lot of extra work and stress for Mama on the way down and back, because it's a long drive from Indiana to the South, the deep South, with babies, little babies. They did not really appreciate it.
What is wrong with these babies?
We're just not very good parents, to be honest.
Yeah, so. I guess that was the real question, the implicit question.
I figured.
What is wrong with these parents?
Maybe that we decided to take these babies on a giant trip, but no, it was all worth it. We needed to see, well, their great-grandmother, their aging great-grandmother in Mississippi, and of course their grandmother and grandfather and other relatives and cousins who had never met them and were chomping at the bit to say hi to them, and who can blame them? Our babies are awesome. So it was a good trip. I think we'll maybe give the babies a little more time to age into long drives.
So the babies are aging too. I want to follow up on this thread because we've got a great-grandmother who's aging, apparently, like she's, and then you've got shocking. So that's at least one character in this story that's undergoing the process of aging.
I feel like we all were
passing through. Okay, I gotcha.
you really got me there.
So you see, folks, that's how you use the art of rhetoric to when someone's trying to get a lie or something by you. And
yep, I really almost got it by you.
Yep, you almost got it by old Sharp Fingers. But old Sharp Fingers grabbed it right out of the air as it zipped past.
Oh, man.
What else is there to say? What else is...
I mean, the thing, honestly, that we've been thinking and talking about will be featured on another podcast. But we'll just hint at it here. We were having a long conversation this morning about the new Spider-Verse movie, which is, I think, really culturally significant.
Yes.
And it says a lot about our culture.
Yeah, I encourage you to go over to Sanity at the Movies podcast and listen to that. It'll be out maybe a couple of days after this podcast drops. This podcast is dropping on a Tuesday. That podcast will drop on a Thursday. Lord willing, creek don't rise. But we shouldn't give away our take. But
unfortunately,
if people don't listen to Sanity at the Movies, like we process some of stuff that I would consider to be most significant about our culture and the way we live and how we think about ourselves. And
it's a mirror of our culture and what our culture loves and values and thinks and how it wants to train our kids. That's what movies are.
And Spider-Verse made a ton of money, as we're talking. Second biggest opening after Super Mario Brothers, the behemoth that has been like a red shell crushing all the competition.
A red shell of a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my commentary on Super Mario Brothers, which I saw.
You did see that movie.
I did see it.
We're not going to talk about that over on the movie podcast. Right. So what did you think about old Super Mario movie? Bearing in mind, many of our listeners have seen it and probably enjoyed it and thought that was just fine and my kids liked it or something like that. It seems to be the consensus among my friends and family.
I think the only compliment I can give it is that it's really pretty and it doesn't overstay its welcome. But that's not really a compliment. And the other thing I'd say is that it is just an empty movie that doesn't care about plot. I would say it aggressively doesn't care about telling a story or creating a world that makes sense.
So it's more like a green shell. It's just meandering in a random direction and bouncing off the walls.
It's just going to give you all the video game content in movie form and let you enjoy the nostalgia, which it's very good at. And I think it'll sell lots of toys and video games. I think that's its purpose. But its purpose was not to tell a story that matters. It's not to have characters that matter. It's not to have a world that matters. It's not even going to give you the very basic satisfaction of having the guy save the princess, because the princess in this case doesn't need saving. She's an enlightened feminist who is at least as tough as the guy, but probably tougher. And I don't think there's really anything more to say about Super Mario Brothers.
Chris Pratt getting another great performance under his belt.
Another great performance. I don't mind Chris Pratt in this movie. He was fine.
I generally don't mind Chris Pratt, I guess. Generally does what's required of him.
I guess so.
Maybe he has poor taste in what's required of him, but yeah, you know, the thing I've realized about something like Super Mario, like I assume they're going to do the Legend of Zelda movie soon, probably especially with Mario making $1 gazillion. And I wonder if it'll just look like the video game or if it'll be live action. Or I guess the thing that I've realized is, you remember that stupid, not that I hope any of our listeners saw it, but you remember the existence of that stupid Sin City movie from the early 2000s, the Rodriguez thing, where he just literalized the comic book, like every image just looked like the comic book panels, down to the fact that they were putting all this grotesque kind of Dick Tracy style makeup on the people. And I'm just like, I guess, apart from all the bigger problems of morality and stuff with that movie, I guess for my brain just doesn't work the way some people's does, because I don't literalize comic books like that. Like, I don't assume I'm seeing a photographic representation of what Batman looks like. I assume I'm seeing kind of an artistic abstraction that's supposed to trigger my imagination to imagine Gotham or Batman or Sin City or whatever else. And so to just see it literalized on the screen is actually kind of deflating. It's like, no, I wanted the movie to actually open up the world and show me what it was that I was imagining the whole time when I flipped through the comic book. And I kind of have a similar response to this Mario movie, where it's like, this just looks like the video game. This just looks like cutscenes from a modern video game. Obviously, there's more graphical power behind it. But like, in the old days when I played a Mario video game, I suppose I was actually kind of imagining myself going through like cool worlds with giant monsters or things like that, up on floating airships and stuff. You know, there's a little bit of a imagination and wonder to be had. Not a ton.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a great fantasy novel or anything like that, but there was something to sort of grab onto and be and feel something about.
Yeah.
And when you just see that sort of thuddingly literalized on the screen, it's not really a very exciting hook for me. I mean, maybe if I'd grown up with just the 16-bit games, you know, like the 8-bit old NES games, and then I saw this, there'd never been even a Super Mario 64, and then they came out with this movie, and it's like, wow, look at how they imagined all the...
Yeah, maybe so.
But
ain't much to it.
Yeah, not crazy about it as a conceit. All right, folks. We love you. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with lots of exciting content. Yeah, until next time.
Stay sane.
Yeah, stay sane.